What's up, YouTube? I'm back with another episode of Kickin' with my dude Matt, and I'm gonna be asking him some questions about, his whole deal. So keep watching. All right. So first question: your IG name, Button. So tell me how that, kind of started. Is that like a nickname?
Yeah, it's a nickname. So that nickname actually came from my pops, my dad. When I was a kid, I was like super small. I'm not big now, but I actually hit a growth spurt compared to what I was before. So like up until probably 9th grade, I was like small, and as a toddler, I was super small. So my dad used to be like, I'm tiny as a butt, and that's how the nickname Button came about. And he's like one of the few people that call me that. A lot of my friends call me that now because that's my IG name, but he was like one of the few and only people that call me that.
Okay. So now I know that you went to Curtis and Oregon. So was it recruiting like super heavy and stuff like that?
Yes. So man, I started getting recruited real heavy like my junior year. My sophomore year, my first offer came from Minnesota, but I didn't know about it. So like the way Curtis used to do it was, he tried to get you just focus on like football or whatever, so he waited till your junior year to tell you about some of the offers.
Oh, okay.
So this is before the whole social media and coaches was really reaching out to players. They were still kind of keeping just close contact with the head coach. So I got offered my sophomore year. I didn't find out until like my junior year that I was offered, and then from that point things just kind of took off.
So did you always know that you wanted to go there? Like, did you know about the history with like Phil Knight and everything?
Yeah. So Oregon was always like just like one of my favorite schools just because of the uniforms. I'm not even gonna lie. And then I used to tell people all the time, like, if I ever get the Oregon offer, I'm gonna commit. And then when Oregon offered me, I was like, shit, like I don't really know what to do. But I went out there, I visited me and my mama. We went out there, and then I just fell in love, and I was like, yeah, I'm coming. But I silently committed. I didn't tell anyone. So from like my end of my junior year up until my senior year, I was like silently committed to Oregon. I had never told anyone. I don't think I ever even told anyone that to just now. I was like silently committed. Me and my mom knew. My dad didn't even know up until like I'd say like maybe the end of football season. I told my dad like I'm going to Oregon, but I just didn't announce it to sign day when we did the whole ESPN deal with me, Malachi, and Kenny, and all that.
So once you got to Oregon, how was like your relationship with Phil Knight? Did y'all get a lot of things like shoes, like sneaker wise?
Yeah, so man, the relationship with Nike and Oregon is like super. It's as close as it can get.
Yeah.
Like he really founded the company, him and one of his teammates from track. So like Bowerman, I think is his last name. But yeah, so we get everything. So when we first get there, you got summer workouts and everything. You get like a big bag of stuff, like workout gear. And then I was super into shoes, always been into shoes. So like I was on our recruitment manager, like I need the foam posits, the Oregon Duck foam posits.
Did you get them?
So he ended up giving them to our whole recruiting class that came in like as soon as we came in. So we got those for like starters, and then like the workout pack, workout gear and stuff like that, hoodies, travel suits, stuff like that. And then just as time progresses, like when the season start, each week your lockers just filled with like new stuff, trainers, and then you get the Air Max 90, certain stuff like one-off that they do. Each year you get a pair of retro Jordans.
So I know like the market in Oregon is like pretty huge. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure there are people like me, trying to offer you like a lot of money for like foam posits, for example. Yeah. So what was like the biggest offer you got for a pair of your PEs?
Man, let me see. I think for the Oregon threes, the Tinker threes we did, we got my last year. Somebody offered me $5,500.
Wow!
Like right off the bat, and it's weird too because the way they do it is when you get those shoes, a few players in the past had gotten in trouble with selling them. So Tinker was like, y'all got to figure out a way to kind of micromanage the situation. So what they do now is when you get them, you wear them, and then you give them back. But you get them once you're done. When your eligibility is up, as soon as your eligibility up or you transfer or you leave, they give you all your shoes. It's just while you're there, you can't have them because they don't want you to like sell them, whatever. But if you go into like a team event or if you go into something for bowl games, like you can go up there and get them. can wear them. But as far as like you just having them at your own in your own closet while you're there, they don't allow it because they don't want you to trade them and then you lose eligibility. But like now I have, I got all mine.
So kind of like describe your job at Nike now, because I know you're working with like the football and everything. Yeah. So just describe that.
So it's kind of a hybrid role. I do a lot of stuff. So like my actual role is called category informational analyst. So I work with like style codes, all that stuff when it comes to like the football uniforms. But I'm also helping like give input. So like I was helping one of our designers give input and just kind of innovate on new uniforms that Oregon is going to be wearing in the bowl game this year. So just kind of like giving input and helping in different aspects for sports marketing and stuff like that, just to kind of like transition and just plant some of the seeds for like my future roles and stuff I'm trying to transfer and get into, transition to. Like
all right, so I'm gonna need to backtrack a little bit. So how did you even start like working with Nike? How did that even come about?
So I've always been into shoes. Like I've always had a big shoe passion growing up. So once I got to, my parents would buy me shoes and stuff. My dad would like stand in lines for me. And then once I got to Oregon, that shoe problem just was multiplied times 10. From the gifts they was giving us to like, I was on scholarship, so I was kind of getting some of my own income at that point, so I was able to just go buy my own shoes, plus the stuff they was giving us. And then from the time I walked in, I told our equipment manager, which is, his name is Kenny Farr. He's like super respected in the equipment game. That's my guy. I told him, I was like, man, I think I want to work at Nike in the future. Can you just kind of like help connect me with some people? And so what Oregon do is we have a panel of players that's typically like juniors and seniors and then kind of like accomplished sophomores. But you get to give input on the jerseys and cleats and travel shoes and all that stuff. So Kenny put me in those meetings from my freshman year. Wow. So like I'm fresh on campus. I haven't even put on a helmet yet.
Oh, so you did this like you had this freshman year when you were like fresh out of high school.
So I kind of just started building the groundwork from there. But it wasn't that super drastic. It was just kind of like slow and steady. Right. And then I was just super like assertive and super talkative in those meetings, like just expressing my ideas, asking 1,000,001 questions. They probably was getting super aggravated with me. And then they seen I had a passion for it, so they asked me, you know, Kenny told us, you know, you like clothes, whatever you want to work at Nike. If you're serious about it, here's our information. Reach out, you can come up there and job shout or whatever. So at that point, I was still fresh to college, so like I wasn't really thinking after college. I'm just like, I'm fresh. I got 4 years, 4.5 years, whatever. But my sophomore year when I got injured, that kind of focused me. That like started me to really focus on my future. And that's the cool thing for me is like seeing a lot of stuff that's coming out in the future, and then just getting to see it start from like literally square one, where it's like we in a room like this, and we just pitching ideas. You might say, I think some Heineken, Converse, or whatever might be dope. Like, okay, cool. And then, so what would you like to see out of that shoe? And then that simple conversation progresses into like the actual product itself, and you get to see it, and then see like the people's reaction on social media. That to me is just dope. We're just remembering like how I was as a kid, just seeing the finished product, but you get to see the whole process of it. So,
how long does it usually take? Like for let's say like one line.
Man, it varies. Like you can get, because a lot of that stuff get tricky. So when you're dealing with like companies like Fear of God, and this is just me, my personal belief on it is not like anything as far as the company or what I've been told, just what I think I kind of like interpret from the outside looking in, because I don't work as close with like doing those collabs and stuff. But I feel it can get tricky on a sense of like, you got to think about it. Like for you, if someone wanted to come and do a collab with you, right, make a sneaker GAZER collab, like you're used to running your own business, so you used to your final say so overrules all. Yeah. Like they might think, oh, this is not a good product or whatever. You like, yeah, but I feel it, so we're gonna put it out, right? But when you get into companies like Nike, which is like arguably the biggest apparel brand in the world, obviously you're not that A side anymore. You're like the B side now. So they have, you know, because they have, it's their designers, it's their innovators, so they really have the final say so. So it can just get tricky, because you could be working on something and then you might have to, you know, you might not like it, so you're not giving it your approval. by right, they can't put out something without your approval. So you can get stuck in something like that for like ongoing, like months that can push. Cause I think it take for something to be produced like fully, I think it's like 6 months to a year to get like the actual product. Cause you gotta think about it. You gotta, you know, you draw it up, then you gotta send it over to developers or send it over to manufacturers or whatever. Then they send you a sample back. Then your developers like wear and tear and play with and see how functional it is. And then they show it to you. If you're the designer, or let's say you're the product manager on that line working on the Sneaker Gazer collab, I might be like, I don't really think that the look we going for, scrap it, we want, not necessarily scrap it, but we want to make a lot of changes to it. So then it goes back to the factory and they redo it and they send you another sample. And that, until y'all get a common ground, you're like, okay, this is what we want, send it back, tell them this is small tweaks, and then from that point they start putting it into like the finished product stage. You know.
Last question, bro. So we talked about everything with Nike. And with that being said, do you have anything to say, like anything coming up that's gonna be real big, or like any secret? You know, we want to know.
As far as secrets, I won't say really secrets because I can't really display that. But what I can say is, there's gonna be some super dope things coming up from July up until next spring. Like the rollout from July up until next spring will be pretty dope.
So you got a whole year.
Yeah, real heat. And then they released it on a lot of the, like, so I seen Sneaker News post about it, House of Heat post about it, that like the low top ones are going back to like the OG model.
Okay.
So it's like more of the Travis Scott ones. If you see, like, if you look at the Travis Scott ones, low top ones, and then you look at the regular low top ones that get released, they look completely different. But the Travis Scott ones is based off the OG silhouette, so it's like a little bit narrower. Yeah, it's slimmer, more narrow. I think the swoosh is a little bit longer. So I seen Nike recently put that out that, you know, they're going back to the OG model 21 for the top ones.
Alright, y'all, that's the last of this episode of Kicking It, and I hope y'all really enjoyed it. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We out. Thank you, bro.
Yep, no doubt.